When I was younger, I loved reading mystery books. And if you've ever liked reading mysteries, maybe you can relate to the way this genre of books drives the adrenaline through your body as you try and figure out who did what and why they did it. You look at all the clues that the author drops, hoping that you can piece things together. You buy a mystery book because you like that period of time where you live in limbo, unsure of how things will turn out. But now that I'm older, I am not sure if it's a coincidence that I do not like the idea of mysteries quite so much. Can anyone else relate? Hey everybody, my name is Katie and I am so happy to welcome you to the Daily Dose. It is the season of Advent, which is a churchy term that we use at this time of year to explain that we are preparing for Christmas. We spend time waiting and wondering. We light candles and we embrace these darkest days of the year. At this time here in this country, in the United States, maybe in other developed countries, you might say that we fill our days before Christmas with a ton of things. We've got company parties that we need to attend. We've got Christmas cards that we need to write. The Halloween decorations were barely down and the Christmas lights were for sale. Political ads ended, but Black Friday ads are tempting us to buy the newest gadget right now, on sale. Catch it before it's gone. It's not difficult for us to think of ways to fill our days as we look toward Christmas. So, here on the Daily Dose, we are inviting all of us to take a step back and ask, how can we make room in our lives for the things that matter? And today I want to wonder with you, how do we make room for mystery in our lives? Or maybe to put it another way, how do I live with uncertainty? Well, I mentioned earlier that it seems like the older I get, the less I like mysteries. And it's not just the book type of mysteries, it's anything mysterious. I have a tendency, and maybe you do too, to want to know what I can expect. I want direction, I want answers, I want to be sure about how something will happen, how or why it will turn out this way. Because if I don't know, well, maybe I will avoid trying something new at all. Maybe I'll get cynical, maybe I'll spend a ton of time just anxious and worrying. Living into mystery or living with uncertainty, that is not something I enjoy doing. And in fact, it's something I try to avoid. Well, back in Jesus' day, before the time of Jesus' birth, we read in the Gospel of Luke about a man named Zechariah who is married to a woman named Elizabeth. And see, Zechariah was a priest and his wife was a descendant of a priest. And the Bible says that both of them were righteous in the sight of God. They followed religious rules. They went to the temple and they did what was required of them by religious laws. They were good people by the standards of the church, by the standards even of society. And yet we learn that they remained childless in their very old age. We can imagine that they wondered, why us, God? What have we done to deserve this? And then we read that an angel appears to Zechariah telling him that they will, even in their old age, give birth to a son who they will name John. This is the person who we will come to know later as John the Baptist, the one who tells everybody about Jesus, the one who baptizes Jesus. And the angel says to Zechariah that this boy will be a joy and a delight to you and to many because of his birth. This boy, the angel emphasizes, will help the people get ready for the coming of the Lord. And that is great news. But then pay attention to what Zechariah says in response. The author of Luke wants us to hear this. Zechariah says, "How can I be sure of this? I'm an old man and my wife is well along in years." Zechariah wants a little bit of proof. He says to the angel, hey, I just wish that you could explain to me how this is possible, something I could maybe vision with my own eyes. Because without that proof, how is he to believe that this year would be different than any past years? How can I be sure? Now, if we continue reading in our Bibles in the book of Luke, we see that this author parallels this with the foretelling of the birth of Jesus. That's a story maybe more of us are familiar with. God sends an angel to visit a woman named Mary who is engaged to a man named Joseph. And the angel says, don't be afraid, because God has found favor with you. And not just any favor, but the favor that means that Mary, who is a virgin, who was so very young, would have a child. a woman who really had no power, no rights in her day, that this lowly woman who had no family lineage to boast about because she was from a small town of Nazareth, this woman would give birth to a son named Jesus. And the angel says that he will be great. He will be called the Son of the Most High. And listen to Mary's response here. Mary, turning to the angel, says, "How will this be?" How will this be? The question that Mary asks shows us that she is asking the angel, she is asking God, in fact, to help her see, to help her understand something beyond her own human limitations. The author of Luke really intentionally highlights Mary's question in contrast to the question we heard before from Zechariah, because he wants us to notice that Mary is approaching this very big moment from a place of incredible curiosity. A place of wonder, a place of humility where she knows she may not fully understand what God has in store for her. Mary is scared, we learn that, but she's living into this mystery. Sometimes when we ask questions that demand certainty in our lives, it means that we're prone to let our own pride get in the way. One author, Bette Dickinson, puts it this way: when I ask God questions that demand certainty, I want to shrink God into what I can understand. I know that describes me from time to time, for sure. So today, I invite you, as you are preparing for Christmas, as you're looking ahead, as you realize these days are so full, I invite you to step back and ask, are there places in your life where living with uncertainty, where making room for mystery in life could actually help you grow in your relationship with God? What would it mean for you to ask, how will this be, with both a curious heart and mind? Thanks so much for watching The Daily Dose. We'd love for you to subscribe on YouTube. You can catch other devotions just like this every weekday. Thanks for being here.